我们今天继续来看，以色列的末世弥赛亚征兆这个 movie。我们前面已经看了2次，现在看第3次，第3部分。好，我们到下一章。那我们就开始从34分11秒那个地方开始来看。那我把那个 CC 打出来啊，全英文字就去了。好，谢谢。
The diaspora, or scattering of Israel in 70 AD, and her subsequent return in 1948, is one of history's most stunning occurrences.
Almost every Old Testament prophet said they would be scattered into all the world for a period of time and then brought back. Jesus Christ said they would be scattered into all the world, and Jerusalem would be trodden down the Gentiles until the times the Gentiles be fulfilled. That the Jews were going to be scattered into all the world and then brought back is one of the most amazing prophecies the world has ever seen. No other religious book in the world can make such prophecies except the Bible. But I want to note the prophecy of Hosea on this subject because it gives us the duration of the diaspora.
For the children of Israel shall remain many days without a king or a prince and without a temple. They have had no temple, they have had no king, they have not even had a prince. Then shall the children return and seek the Lord and David their king, and fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. In the next chapter it says, I will go and return to my place till they, Israel, acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction or their tribulation they will seek me early.
So we refer this to Jesus Christ, who came. He was rejected. He returned to his place. But in the tribulation, they will come to know him. And we continue on, come and let us return unto the Lord, for he has torn and he will heal us. He has smitten and he will bind us up, which he will. After 2 days will he revive us. And the 3rd day, then shall we know if we follow him to know the Lord. He's going forth as fair as the morning, and he will come unto us as the rain, and the latter rain, and the former rain unto the earth. So we read here that after 2 days, God would bring them back. It's obvious that this is not 2 24-hour days. And we read in Psalm 90, and also 2 Peter, that 1 day with the Lord is 1,000 years, or 2,000 years. Now, how long has Israel been dispersed into the world? 2,000 years. Now they're back. This in itself proves that we're living at the dawning of the Messianic age. And not only that, the indication is the Messiah will come when the latter and the former rains have been restored. And we're in that area now. The former and latter rains in Israel has been restored, and rainfall in Israel has doubled since 1948. So this is one of the most amazing prophecies in the Bible. Not only did Hosea tell about the diaspora, he mentioned that it would last for 2,000 years, and the Messiah would come at the end of the 2,000 years when the former and latter rain have been restored unto the earth. So this is an exciting prophecy, and we see it coming to pass right here before our eyes. We're here in front of the Knesset in Jerusalem, visiting with our guide, Gila Trevish, who has been a guide for my tours here in Israel many years. And Gila, concerning the Knesset, we know that Hosea and others prophesied that Israel would be without a king and without a temple many years. But when they came back in the land, no mention really is made of an immediate king, but there are mentions of governors. Now, does that mean that Israel is a democracy? Would that be a fulfillment of the prophetic word?
Well, Israel definitely is a democracy. In fact, boy, what a democracy. You could say that we suffer from excess democracy because every elections, which are supposed to be every 4 years, we have 30 political parties coming up for elections.
Even the ultra-religious factions of Muslims and Jews have representation. And so the Jewish government is not even close to the monarchical system of old. But today, it is governed by a configuration of political parties or governors, just as Scripture foretells. The Jewish preparations for the rebuilding of the temple is one of the chief and most thrilling messianic signs of our day. Today in Israel, the Temple Mount Institute is actively preparing for the temple's reconstruction.
The Temple Institute is dedicated to the concept of the positive commandment that Israel is entrusted with to rebuild the Holy Temple in every generation. Essentially, our goal is to try to fulfill this commandment of, and you shall make for me a sanctuary that I will dwell among you, as best as possible. The main focal point of our work is the actual restoration of the vessels that can be used in the temple. And these things are not models or replicas or copies, but are actually real, made according to the exact requirements of the biblical law, according to every nuance of the way God gave it over to Moses, as embellished also in the oral tradition. So these things can actually be used in the rebuilt temple. To date, we've constructed over 3/4 of the vessels that are necessary for the restoration of temple service. Now, one of the major questions that are always asked is, where is the temple going to be rebuilt? So, of course, the temple doesn't go in Cincinnati or Paris, but a few meters in this direction on the Temple Mount. And that, of course, is not my idea or your idea, but something that God chose, the only place on earth that God chose to rest His presence. It's difficult, really, for many people to comprehend and to understand, to fathom how this is going to come about, considering the geopolitical reality of the situation as we have it today. The temple is going to be rebuilt. That's not the problem. I know the end of the movie. We all know that the temple is going to be rebuilt because that's a divine promise. So the issue is not really the stones. But again, on the other hand, I can't shy from the fact that that's where the temple belongs, and that's where it goes, and that's the destiny of the Jewish people. How it's going to come about is something else entirely. And I think that when we study the prophets of Israel, we begin to see that the major hallmark of that era is that it's a very special time of harmony and unity and peace. All that we can really do is have the faith and integrity to live as Jews should live, to adhere to the Word of God, and to do as best as possible that which is incumbent upon us to bring us closer to the time of the temple.
It's very interesting that here in Israel, you cannot travel along any major road, any major highway, even 1 mile, without running across some place, or some site, or some memorial, or some location that does not have a contemporary prophetic relationship. Now, we're standing here in a armored unit memorial. This building in the background was once an old British fort and British headquarters for their military police. But the tanks that you see all around me are tanks that have been used in the wars of Israel, from the Sherman tank up to Israel's latest tank, the Chariot. And also in this collection of tanks, as a memorial to the brave men who defended Israel in these past wars, some tanks captured from the Egyptians, the Syrians, the Iraqis, or other Arab nations that have come against Israel in these last days. What is even more amazing, as we read the prophetic word in the 12th chapter of Zechariah, that all this was prophesied exactly over 2,500 years before it happened. For example, Zechariah predicted that when Israel would return to the land just before the Messiah came, that the armies of Israel would destroy vast armies of the enemy on the right and on the left. And this is exactly what has happened. On the right and on the left, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, and on the other side there is Egypt. So the world military strategists are amazed that although outnumbered at times 30 to 1, Israel has won amazing wars. Israel today is still looking for their Messiah, but according to Zechariah, after these wars, Israel will know their Messiah. And my, what a glorious day that is, and what a remarkable remembrance of this coming event, or looking forward to this coming event, as we stand in the midst of all these things that have fought in so many of these battles that have saved the nation of Israel from extinction. One of the reasons there can be no lasting peace in the Middle East until the Messiah comes is the controversy we see today over the city of Jerusalem. The status of Jerusalem is not just a political or national problem, it is a spiritual problem. The Vatican wants Jerusalem. The Jews claim Jerusalem, and rightly so, as their spiritual and national capital. The Islamic religious authority claims the Temple Mount as the third most holy place in Islam, and consequently disputes over the Jewish temple also infringes upon Jewish rights to the Old City. Arafat claims the Old City of Jerusalem, the Jerusalem recognized by God, as the capital for his new Palestinian state. The status of Jerusalem is debated daily in the United Nations and the capitals of the world. The prophet Zechariah foretold that when Israel came back into the land in the last days, that God would make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. Zechariah chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. One of the reasons there is continual fighting over Jerusalem and no peace in the Middle East, as prophesied in Ezekiel 35, is that the Idumeans, or Edomites, the descendants of Esau, who are today the present-day Palestinians, have a perpetual hatred for the Israelis, the descendants of Jacob. In the following chapter, in Ezekiel 36, we see Israel back in the land. The people have been gathered back from all nations, having to deal with enemies from without and enemies from within. As the prophet foretold, Jerusalem is a burdensome stone for all the world to bear, a sign that the Messianic age is dawning and God is suddenly to intervene to settle this controversy and problem that dates all the way back to the time of Abraham, Esau, and Jacob. Since May 14, 1948, when the Israeli head of state, David Ben-Gurion, proclaimed the rebirth of the nation of Israel, that nation has been confronted with 3 major wars and 6 lesser wars. In addition, Israel has been on a continual war-footing alert. Israel has had to invest much of its national budget and manpower in maintaining a large army. Israel needs peace, yet the mindset of the Islamic world has been, we can lose 99 wars, all we have to do is win the 100th war. Since 1948, there have been at least 50 UN resolutions and an international agreement to try to bring peace between Israel and its Arab neighbors, as well as with the Palestinian elements within its borders. Yet, not one of these treaties, resolutions, or agreements has brought any measure of peace to this part of the world. However, in Daniel 9:27, Jesus in the Olivet Discourse and Paul in 2 Thessalonians all foretold that there would be a comprehensive peace treaty signed that would seemingly bring an uneasy peace for 3 1/2 years. But then this peace accord or covenant would be broken with disastrous results, leading to worldwide wars, desolations, and sorrow. This period will be the last half of the tribulation, or the time of Jacob's trouble. According to the Bible, the man who will be the Antichrist will confirm or guarantee this peace treaty. Then he himself will break it and seek to finish the job that Hitler started, the liquidation of Israel as a race. Only the Messiah can bring peace, but these futile efforts to effect a comprehensive peace treaty between Israel and its neighbors by the UN, the United States, and the nations of the world is in itself only a messianic sign to get ready for the coming of the Lord.
After Solomon's death, the nation was divided into two kingdoms. The southern kingdom, headquartered in Jerusalem under King Rehoboam, and the northern kingdom in Dan under King Jeroboam. This is the remains of the ancient city of Dan, way to the north of the Sea of Galilee. The Danites formerly lived between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv to the south, but they were raided by the Philistines from Gaza continuously, so they moved north. But when they did, they exposed themselves to the teachings of Jeroboam and his idolatrous worship. And as a result of that, they departed from the God of Israel, and they morally decayed. And finally, God sent the Assyrians in to destroy them, almost 150 years before the rest of the 10 tribes fell.
After the division of Israel into two nations, Rehoboam reigned over the southern kingdom, and Jeroboam reigned over the northern kingdom. Jeroboam reasoned, now, if these people of the 10 tribes go back up to Jerusalem to worship at the temple at the feast days, and especially at the Passover, well, they're going to get attached back to the temple and Jerusalem, and they'll go back to Rehoboam, and they'll overthrow me, and I'll have a big problem. So he reasoned that, now, if I set up a golden calf here in Dan and one at Bethel, I can tell the people, why go back up to Jerusalem? It's a long road up there, and after all, it's so convenient for you to come to Dan and to Bethel. And after all, we have these beautiful gods that our forefathers worshipped in Egypt. So why go back up there? Here was the high place where the calf was set up, the golden calf, and down below was the altar. And Jeroboam became known as the man who made Israel to sin.
Ezekiel the prophet refers to the separated kingdom as two separate sticks, but at the end of the age, when Israel returns, the two sticks will be joined together to become one stick, as we read in Ezekiel 37:22. And I will make of them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and shall no more be two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kings any more at all. Just before the crucifixion of the Lord on Skull Hill, Roman soldiers cast lots and divided his garments here on the pavement of Herod's Antonia fortress. But according to Revelation 16, Jerusalem will also be divided into thirds, most likely in a religious feeding frenzy between Islam, Judaism, and Catholicism.
Although today Jerusalem is somewhat divided into Christian, Armenian, Muslim, and Jewish quarters, it is still presently under Israeli control, with the exception of the Temple Mount, which, for all practical purposes, is under Jordanian authority. Now, we know from statements and actions by Chairman Arafat that he has promised the Islamic world that Old Jerusalem would be the capital of a new Palestinian state. Also, the Catholic Church evidently has designs of gaining control over at least 1/3 of Jerusalem. If Arafat gets a third, the Vatican gets a third, that would leave only 1/3 for Israel. The vast majority of political and religious leaders of Israel today would commit their nation to a war of finality rather than relinquish any right they have to the city of Jerusalem. However, in Revelation 16:19, there is an indication that Jerusalem will be divided into 3 parts. In any event, the Lord admonishes us in His Word to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, because when we pray for the peace of Jerusalem, we are actually praying for His glorious return, because there can be no peace in Jerusalem until He does return.
Well, Noah, one of the things that's so hard for me to deal with is after seeing all of these fulfilled prophecies, all these miracles in the land, the Jews still don't believe that Jesus is Lord and that He's coming again. It's amazing.
Well, Ken, really, you have just given our 25th Messianic sign, because the Bible says that the Jews will not believe until the time of Jacob's troubles, in their time of great affliction, and only then will they believe when they see the nail prints in His hand. So we know that all these signs certainly indicate that that time is near at hand, as we read in Romans 11, that the Messiah will roar out of Zion, and all Israel shall be saved.
Well, I think of the words of Christ Himself when He said, when you see all of these things come to pass, you know that His coming is near. So I want to fulfill prophecy today, Noah, by saying, blessed is He, for all of Israel, blessed is He who comes in the name of the Lord. We hope you've enjoyed this tour of the Holy Land with us, of all these prophecies, and you really can't appreciate it until you come here yourself. But we say from Jerusalem, for Noah Hutchins and myself, Maranatha.
好，回到 slide， 我们大家一起来复习一下。我们这么多次看了这个，你记得哪些印象最深刻的这个耶路撒冷的弥赛亚征兆？好，来，现在谁想起来就先讲。
复国。对，
以色列复国。所以在这个举世都不相信，因为以色列人被 diaspora 就是被赶散到列国去了，看起来不像是有复国的希望。而且2000年，但是呢，神所说的预言说，以色列会复国，而且从哪边哪个方向带回来，用怎么样的方式带回来？他说从翅膀带回来，真的就是从用飞的。当时2000年前根本就不知道有可以用飞的，所以对以色列复国第一大征兆。好，然后还有呢？对，记不记得那个圣经里面就是有预言说，当犹太人被赶散离开耶路撒冷的时候，那个以色列地必无雨，对，不会再下雨了，对，必荒凉，全然荒凉，无人能居住，真的就是这样。以色列人一被赶出去，在主后70年，罗马帝国一把他们赶散到列国去，那个地方一旦没有犹太人，一滴雨都不落下，2000年来必无雨。什么时候开始有雨？
以色列回来。
第一批最大的这个利亚，这个以色列人从欧洲这样子逃回来的时候，那个大船一靠岸，第一批犹太人到这个地上去开始亲吻那个海岸上面的犹太土地，雨滴就开始滴下来。对，这是圣经上的预言，完全照这个来发生。然后呢，跟这个同一个线，他讲说，这有一个时间点，他说犹太人呢就有说我虽然鞭打你们，我必缠果；我虽然把你们压伤，我必定会医治。2日之后，你们必定复活。 然后你们就可以存活。然后2日，他们是讲了说2日，按照这个诗篇上面讲的，1日如同1000年，所以2日就是2000年，2000年以后复活，2000年以后以色列人复国，带回，完全照神所说的这个时间点发生的方式。而且他说，主耶稣再来之前，就是2日之后复活嘛，然后主耶稣会再来嘛，会把他们带来，你们必来寻求，必得见我。也就是主耶稣再来的时候，他说主耶稣再来的时候之前会发生怎么样的这个征兆？春雨秋雨都会恢复。你说春雨秋雨是什么意思？春雨秋雨就是说会落2次双倍的雨，原本只有1次春雨，那就1次雨就没了。然后春雨秋雨都有，那所以雨就会加倍。所以自从以色列1948年复国啊，他们再回去以后开始有雨，对不对？可那时候刚开始只有春雨，到了今天，以色列的雨量跟那个时候1948年之前以色列建国比加倍，春雨秋雨都来了。所以完全照神所说的这些预言来这样发生。哦，还有什么？还有什么？还有想起什么？对。所以预言是说犹太人回到他们那个住的土地的时候，神必定照他们所原先所应允的流奶与蜜，照样的来给他们这样的同样的土产。结果神真的是在以色列人被赶散那2000年，那个地方不毛之地，完全没有生产。可是当以色列人一回来以后，神就给他们雨量，忽然之间就种出来。那而且不但种出水果以及各种的土产来，而且呢，在其他地方，比如说美国，从美国移植去的那个 avocado， 在美国的 avocado 只有小小的一个，就是我们在市场上所能够买得到的。可是，一旦同样的种子种在以色列，长出来就像手掌那么大，我们都在上面看到，只有以色列长出来会像手掌那么大，以至于人家欧洲反而不要来买美国的 avocado， 专门要买要买以色列的 avocado， 因为特别大，特别甜。那同样是从美国移植过去的玉米，同样的种，在美国这个地方一个 stalk， 他就说1个茎，所谓1个茎就是那个叶子跟叶子之间那个地方，一个 stalk 之间，在美国的玉米田，1个 stalk 之间只能种一株玉米，就1根那个玉米长出来。可是，在以色列，1个 stalk 就是叶子跟叶子之间可以长2-3个，同样的种。那而且呢，在美国这个艾奥瓦州，同样的种，它1年只能收成1次玉米，想都没有想过说还能够多次这样的收成，哪有这回事？可是同样的种子，在这个以色列那个地方一种下去，1年生2-3次，不断的生产，不断的生产。好，还有什么？还有什么其他的征兆？他说会建圣殿，对不对？那这个就是说主耶稣再来的时候，他必忽然进入那个圣殿，而且这个圣殿会被亵渎，会先被亵渎，会被敌基督给亵渎，会行那个毁坏可憎的事情，所以要有圣殿，对不对？对。然后他这边有讲到说，这个圣殿委员会 （Institution of Temple）， 那其实这个是旧的电影，这个电影是10年前拍的，所以他讲说，我们一直很忠实的在那边预备，在建所有那些圣殿里面的那些圣器皿，而且他说，这个圣器皿不是只是说盖一个样子而已，它是完全照旧约圣器皿摩西5经里面所说的这个圣器皿的完全一样大小、一样的材质、一样的方式来建造，就是要能够用，到时候圣殿一旦盖起来，所有的东西摆上去，立刻能够开始用，这是真正的用来祭祀神的器皿。那它上面讲说，这是10年前嘛，我们现在已经这个2/3，4分之3，他说4/3的圣器皿都已经重建好。其实今天其实99%的圣器皿都已经盖好，都已经做好。那个唯一剩下没有做好的是什么？是那个真的圣殿要盖起来那个大的那个，比如说那个祭坛的那个斜坡，这种东西因为太大，这是要硬的这个建筑，所以现在没办法建。凡是能够建的小的这些器物，能够搬运的这种小的器物，现在已经全部建好，就从去年的时候全部建好，就只等那个圣殿能够盖起来。所以他讲说，主耶稣再来之前，不是说你会看到这个有圣殿盖在那个地方， 所以说敌基督可以进去去亵渎，去行毁坏可憎的事情。所以呢，这是其中一个征兆，就是圣殿的这个准备。那还有什么征兆？对对对，不，他没有讲，我不记得他有讲约柜。
还没找到。
哦，他没有提到这个。
最近几年才找到。
好，还有什么其他的？在这里面看到这个征兆。他说这个和平，就是耶路撒冷的和平，记不记得？他讲说，这个耶路撒冷必然成为这个列国的一个 burden， 就是一个负担，是一个大家都要去举，可是举起来，谁举起来谁都被砸到自己的脚，而且那个地方必定征战，必定没有和平。那什么时候会有和平呢？记不记得他们讲？对对对，只有敌基督出现的时候，才有那个能耐去带来真正的那个暂时的那个和平。然后他有讲到时间点，他说敌基督带来和平以后会怎么样？3年半。对，3年半的真正的和平。然后呢？
他会把和平条约弃绝。
对，然后他3年半之后他就毁约，就成为真正的世界的最后的这3年半的大灾难。那最大的灾难点就是耶路撒冷那个地方，以色列，他们会被列国围攻，在7年的那个末尾的时候，他们会被列国围攻，而亚米吉多顿的这个战役。对，所以说呢，他这里面有提醒到，就当你看到那个合约签订的时候，然后他都没有跟我们回顾历史嘛，说一直在这个近代的历史。然后美国以及列国都一直想要带来这个合约，可是呢，不论用怎么样的方法来尝试，不论是用逼迫以色列人割地，或是用这个妥协的方式，种种的，怎么去试，哪一方去试，哪一国去试，都没有办法带来真正的合约，连1寸合约都没有真正的达到，从来任何合约签下去，也没有看到一点点的和平能够被改进。可是呢，他就提醒到。他说：“当你看到，忽然之间一个真正的合约对耶路撒冷能够签订出来，那你就知道这个起跳，弥赛亚再来的这个日子，那个3年半，然后再3年半，就整个7年的日子，最后的这个倒数的日子就起跳了。还有没有？”我也不大想起来，就是这些啊。对，所以我们就被这个提醒到，主耶稣再来的日子会这样子来发生。那主耶稣再来的时候，他里面一再的去强调，讲了好多次嘛。主耶稣来的时候，犹太人会是怎么样的反应呢？犹太人会从老至少都来在犹太地来对耶稣说。奉主名来是应当称颂的，耶稣，你是我们的弥赛亚，我们欢迎你回来。他们必定会认识他，所以我们要为他们来祷告。所以我们今天唯一的祷告的题目，就是来为这个来祷告。对，好，那接下来到下一张 slide。好，那我们摄影就摄影到这个地方为止。